Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to you today about something that is quietly sabotaging your progress. Something that feels harmless, something you think is natural, but in reality, it's keeping you from the life that is waiting for you. It's the habit of telling everyone what's going on in your life. Listen to me carefully, the world does not need your updates. Your life does not need a running commentary. Every time you share your struggles, your failures, your plans, you are scattering your energy. You are inviting opinions, doubts, and unnecessary interference into your destiny. There is a power in silence. There is strength in discretion. The most successful people I have observed are not the ones who broadcast every thought, every dream, every setback. No, they move in quiet determination. They prepare in secrecy. They execute with focus. And when the world finally sees the results, they are stunned because they were never expecting it. You see, you stop telling everyone about your life. Two things happen. First, you regain control. You hold the narrative in your own hands. Second, protect your vision. Your dreams deserve the sacred soil of privacy so they can grow without being trampled by criticism, envy, or misunderstanding. I know it's tempting to share. I know you feel that validation is a form of encouragement, but true encouragement comes from discipline, strategy, the inner belief that what you are doing matters more than what anyone else thinks. Stop telling, start doing. Stop explaining, start achieving. Stop seeking validation. Start creating. Stop broadcasting your struggles. Start nurturing your breakthroughs in silence. You will notice that when you stop sharing the noise of your life, your focus sharpens, your energy multiplies, and doors open in ways you never imagined. You will begin to realize that the less the world knows, the more powerful you become. Guard your story. Protect your journey. And remember, greatest victories are often the ones that happen quietly away from the eyes of the world. I want you to hear me today, and I want you to really listen, because what I'm about to say is the truth you may have been avoiding. Silence is strength. Yes, I said it. Silence is strength. And yet, so many of us move through life as if the world is our diary, as if every thought, every plan, every struggle must be shared and spoken aloud. The greatest power in the universe often whispers. The wind does not announce itself with fanfare. It moves quietly, shaping mountains and carving valleys. The river does not shout as it flows. It continues its course, unstoppable, transforming everything in its path. Why? Nature understands the power of silent persistence, and so must you. You see, when you remain silent, you are not weak. You are not hiding. No, you are preserving. You are conserving your energy. You are shielding your mind from unnecessary battles, your heart from needless disappointments, and your spirit from the doubts of those who are not walking in your shoes. Silence gives you the space to grow, to plan, to strategize. Silence allows you to strengthen yourself in ways that words cannot. Think about this. How many times have you told someone about your dreams only to be met with skepticism? How many times have you shared your struggles only to have someone offer advice you didn't ask for? Or worse, judgment. Every time you speak before you are ready, every time you share before the harvest is ripe, you risk losing what is rightfully yours. Your words, seemingly harmless, carry energy. They carry power. And if you disperse that power recklessly, you weaken yourself. Silence is not emptiness. It is preparation. It is the calm before the storm. It is the quiet work of a mind that refuses to be distracted. When you are silent, you can listen. You can observe. You can study. You can see the patterns, recognize the opportunities, and identify the threats that the noisy world will overlook. Here's the most critical part. When you finally speak, when you finally act, your words and actions carry weight. They carry authority. They carry undeniable power because they come from someone who has been in the trenches, someone who has prepared in secret, someone who has been building quietly while the world was busy talking. Those who make the most noise are not always the ones who achieve the most. In fact, the louder someone is, the more often they are trying to compensate for what they lack. But the person who understands the strength of silence moves with purpose. They do not need to boast. They do not need the applause before the performance. They know that their time will come. And when it does, impact will be unforgettable. Silence also protects your mind. The world is full of voices, Voices that tell you what you cannot do. Voices that remind you of your limitations. Voices that try to convince you that your dreams are too big or your goals too lofty. But when you embrace silence, when you choose not to engage in every conversation, when you stop justifying yourself to everyone who demands it, you protect your mental space. You preserve your focus and you strengthen your resolve. Consider the wisdom of great leaders, those who have left an indelible mark on history. They understood that silence is a tool. They knew that not every thought needed to be shared. Not every plan needed an audience. They moved quietly, built diligently, and when the moment arrived, they struck with precision. Their silence was not absence, it was power. Silence does not mean isolation. Silence does not mean inaction. Silence is not a retreat. Silence is preparation. It is the cultivation of inner strength, the sharpening of your vision, the fortification of your purpose. When you are silent, you are listening to the whispers of your own soul, the nudges of your destiny, and the guidance that only comes from within. But I need to tell people what I'm going through. I need support. I need encouragement. And I am not saying you should never speak. Support is valuable. Encouragement is essential. But there is a difference between sharing to grow and scattering your power. There is a difference between asking for guidance and broadcasting your life to anyone who will listen. True strength comes when you can endure in silence, when you can persevere quietly, when you can keep your vision close to your heart while the world doubts, misunderstands, or ignores you. Silence teaches patience. Silence teaches discipline. Silence teaches focus. It gives you the clarity to distinguish between those who genuinely want to see you succeed and those who are only interested in commentary. And when the time is right, your breakthrough will speak for itself. Your success will speak for itself. Your life lived in silent strength will speak louder than any words ever could. And let me tell you, this silence also protects your energy. Every word you speak is a release of your personal power. Every story you tell about your struggles or plans is a vibration sent into the universe. If you scatter these vibrations recklessly, you weaken your own frequency. But if you hold your words, if you conserve your energy, you amplify your impact. You become a force that is undeniable, a presence that cannot be ignored. Embrace silence. Do not be afraid of it. Do not mistake it for weakness. Let it be your shield, your strategy, your strength. When the world demands to know, when the world urges you to explain, when the world tries to distract you with noise, stand firm. Hold your tongue. Protect your energy. Nurture your vision in quiet determination. So start today. Speak less. Listen more. Observe, prepare, build. And when you finally move, move like a storm that no one saw coming. Move like a river that has been carving its path quietly, relentlessly, inexorably. Move like someone who understands that silence is not the absence of power. It is the presence of unstoppable strength. Silence is strength. Guard it, protect it, love it. And watch as your life transforms in ways you never imagined, because you have learned the greatest lesson of all. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to say nothing at all and let the world feel your presence when the time is right. I want to speak to you today about a habit that is quietly destroying potential, wasting energy, and keeping you from the life you were meant to live. That habit is this: broadcasting your struggles. Yes, too many of us have been conditioned to share every difficulty, to tell everyone about every challenge, to make our problems public. But let me tell you, your struggles are not meant to be public property. They are sacred. They are yours. When you share them carelessly, you are giving away power that belongs to you alone. Now, don't misunderstand me. I know life is hard. I know the storms come, the mountains rise. The burdens feel too heavy to carry. I know the nights are long and the mornings seem impossible. Here is the truth. Not every struggle needs a witness. Not every hardship needs an audience. Not every trial needs commentary. When you broadcast your struggles, you expose yourself to judgment, doubt, and discouragement. You open the door to criticism, envy, and negativity from people who are not walking in your shoes. And far too often, the very people you think are supporting you end up confusing you, distracting you, or even derailing you. There is power in keeping your struggles private. There is strength in enduring in silence. The world does not need to know every difficulty you face. The world does not need a play-by-play of your battles. Your life is not a reality show. Your destiny is not dependent on public validation. The more you broadcast your struggles, the more you weaken your own resilience. The more you share, the more you give away the energy and determination that could have fueled your breakthrough. When someone faces a challenge in private and continues to work, to grind, to push forward without announcing it to the world, they develop resilience that cannot be shaken. They grow stronger because they are not relying on the approval or sympathy of others. They are relying on their own faith, their own discipline, their own strength. And when the breakthrough finally comes, it is undeniable, unshakable, and unapologetically powerful. But when struggles are broadcast, they attract unnecessary opinions. People will tell you what they think you should do, even if they have never been in your situation. People will offer advice you didn't ask for, solutions that don't apply, and criticisms that cut deeper than the problem itself. Broadcasting struggles can make you feel supported temporarily, but in the long run, it scatters your energy, diminishes your focus, and slows down your progress. There is a difference between seeking help and broadcasting pain. There is a difference between asking for guidance and turning your life into an open book for everyone to read. Seeking help is strategic. Broadcasting struggles is careless. Strategic support helps you grow. Careless sharing can stunt your growth. The world may applaud your honesty, but it does not always contribute to your breakthrough. In fact, many times it becomes a roadblock. I want you to understand the wisdom of restraint. The strongest leaders, the most successful people, the greatest minds, these are the people who endure privately. They struggle silently. They work tirelessly behind the scenes. They face challenges, yes, but they do not make a spectacle of them. They know that every hardship, every setback, every moment of doubt is an opportunity to build character, to sharpen focus, and to develop the endurance necessary for success. Broadcasting struggles also conditions the mind to expect sympathy rather than solutions. When you tell everyone your problems, you are training your mind to rely on external validation instead of internal strength. You are teaching your spirit to seek comfort from others rather than from within. And while encouragement has its place, the truest form of power comes from learning to endure, adapt, and overcome without needing the approval or understanding of everyone around you. Your struggles are fertile ground for growth, but only if you tend them quietly. When you face challenges privately, you can analyze them objectively. You can learn from them without distraction. You can make mistakes without embarrassment. And you can make adjustments without pressure. When struggles are broadcast, every misstep becomes public, every correction becomes scrutinized, and every failure feels magnified. Privacy allows you to fail safely, recover strategically, and rise stronger than ever before. I know it's tempting to share your hardships. I know the world encourages transparency and openness. I know social media makes it feel normal to post struggles for likes, comments, and validation. Here is the spiritual truth. The more private your struggle, the greater your strength. The more sacred your challenge, more powerful your victory will be. Those who understand this live differently. They endure differently. They succeed differently. And the world finally sees the results, cannot deny their power. Broadcasting struggles does not lighten your load, it multiplies it. Every time you share a problem, you invite others to weigh in, to judge, to redirect your energy, and to shape your thoughts in ways that may not align with your purpose. You give away the very focus you need to navigate the storm. But when you stop broadcasting, when you decide to endure privately, your energy multiplies. Your focus sharpens, your mind becomes clearer, and your breakthrough comes faster, stronger, and more secure than ever before. Stop broadcasting your struggles. Protect them. Handle them with wisdom and strategy. Seek counsel only when necessary, but do not invite the world into every battle. Let your struggles become the quiet soil where your resilience grows. Let them be the private fire that forges your character. Be the unseen work that prepares you for the victories that are coming. And when the victory comes, and it will come, you will not need to explain it. You will not need to justify it. The world will see it. Your life will declare it. Your breakthrough will announce itself with undeniable force. The satisfaction of success achieved in silent strength is greater than any applause or pity ever could be. Stop broadcasting your struggles. Hold them close. Endure in silence. Build in privacy. Pray in secrecy. Work with determination. And when the time is right, reveal not your pain, but your power. Reveal not your struggle, but your triumph. Reveal not the hardship, but the victory that was forged quietly, relentlessly, and faithfully. Stop broadcasting your struggles. Start cultivating strength. Start nurturing resilience. Start building victories that the world cannot ignore. Remember this: the strongest trees grow in silence, the deepest rivers flow unseen. The most powerful people thrive without announcing every step they take. Let me speak to you today about something that will change the trajectory of your life if you truly understand it. It is not money. It is not talent. It is not even your opportunities. No, the most powerful force you can wield in your life is this: control your narrative. Control your narrative. Control your narrative. And let me tell you why so many people fail to rise. They allow others to write their story for them. They give their power away with every conversation, every explanation, every attempt to justify themselves to the world. Your life is a story. Every day is a page. Every decision, every choice, every interaction writes a line. And here is the truth: if you do not take control of the pen, someone else will. And when someone else writes your story, it is rarely in your favor. They may misunderstand you. They may judge you unfairly. They may exaggerate your weaknesses and minimize your strengths. And before you know it, the story of your life is no longer your story. It belongs to the opinions, the assumptions, and the gossip of other people. Controlling your narrative begins with ownership. You must own your story. Every success, every failure, every mistake, every triumph, own it. When you take full responsibility for the story of your life, you take full control over its direction. No longer are you at the mercy of outside voices. No longer do you allow circumstance to dictate who you are or where you are going. When you own your story, you declare to the world, I am the author of my destiny. I write the plot, I decide the chapters, and I determine the ending. Too many people, though, give this power away. They allow social media to define them. They allow gossip to shape their identity. They allow critics to dictate what is possible. Every time you let someone else write your story, you give them control over your energy, your confidence, and your vision. But here is the good news. You can take it back at any moment. You can reclaim your narrative. You can decide who you are, what you represent, and how your life will unfold. Controlling your narrative also requires discernment. Not every thought needs to be spoken. Not every plan needs to be announced. Every struggle needs to be explained. When you overshare, you allow the noise of the world to shape your story. When you act with discernment, when you speak with intention, you shape your story with power and purpose. Think about it: the person who announces every step, every plan, every challenge. How often are they interrupted, misunderstood, or misrepresented? But the person who moves deliberately, who speaks selectively, who shares strategically, how often do they achieve impact without interference? Controlling your narrative is not just about what you say, it's about what you do. Your actions write chapters far louder than your words ever could. Every decision you make, every habit you form, every boundary you set, it all contributes to the story of your life. And when your life is consistent, intentional, and aligned with your purpose, you do not need to explain yourself. Your narrative speaks for itself. The world sees your results. Your actions become undeniable proof of your vision, your discipline, and your character. Let me give you an example. Consider a person who has been underestimated, overlooked, or doubted. They could spend all their energy defending themselves, explaining themselves, proving themselves to others. And while they do that, time passes, opportunity slips, energy drains. The person who controls their narrative chooses differently. They do not waste their breath on doubters. They do not argue with the critics. They do not justify their worth to the uninformed. Instead, they invest their energy in preparation, in growth, in action. And when the world finally sees the results, the impact is undeniable. The story of their life has been written on their terms. No one else can take that away. Controlling your narrative also requires courage. It is not easy to stand firm when the world wants to label you, to judge you, to misinterpret you. It is not easy to remain silent when people demand explanations. It is not easy to move forward without the validation of others. But courage is required if you want to control your narrative. You must have the confidence to trust your own voice, to honor your own journey, and to stay true to your purpose even when everyone else doubts it. Controlling your narrative protects your energy. Every time you explain yourself, every time you defend yourself, every time you justify your life to someone else, you expend power that could have been invested in progress. Care enough, you give away energy that could have been used to create, to build, to transform your life. But when you control your narrative, you conserve your energy. You protect your focus, you strengthen your determination, and you direct all your power toward your vision, not toward defending yourself against the opinions of others. Furthermore, controlling your narrative allows you to create your legacy. The story of your life is not just about today. It is about tomorrow, the next generation, and the impact you leave behind. When you control your narrative, you ensure that your story is remembered for your victories, your character, and your faithfulness, not for the criticisms of others, the mistakes of the past, or the misunderstandings of those around you. You define how history will see you. You determine the lessons your life will teach. You shape the inspiration that others will draw from your journey. Your narrative is your power. Every time you speak intentionally, act decisively, live deliberately, you are reinforcing your story. Every time you resist the temptation to explain, justify, or defend unnecessarily, you are asserting control over your life. Every time you invest in yourself privately, work on your craft, and prepare for the breakthrough, you are writing a narrative that is unstoppable, undeniable, and unforgettable. Take control of your narrative, own your story. Speak with intention, act with purpose, invest your energy wisely, build silently but powerfully, move deliberately but fearlessly. And remember this, no one else gets to define your life. No one else gets to determine your worth. No one else gets to dictate your path. The pen is in your hand, and it is time for you to write your story, chapter by chapter, with courage, conviction, and clarity. Control your narrative. Protect your energy. Preserve your vision, and watch as your life unfolds exactly the way it was meant to, because you refuse to let anyone else write your story, and you chose to live as the author of your destiny. I want to talk to you today about something that is sacred, something that is fragile, yet something that is capable of changing the course of your entire life. I want to talk to you about vision. Your vision, that dream, that calling, fire inside of you that refuses to be extinguished. And I want to tell you this, if you do not protect your vision, no one else will. If you do not guard it with everything you have, it will be stolen, sabotaged, and diminished by a world that does not understand it. Your vision is your compass. It is the blueprint for your life. It is the map that guides you through storms, challenges, and obstacles. But here is the problem. Too many people allow their vision to be distracted, diluted, or destroyed by the noise around them. They allow criticism to confuse them. They allow doubt to paralyze them. They allow others' opinions to steal their focus. And before they know it, that beautiful, powerful vision that was placed inside them is weakened, compromised, or completely abandoned. It is sacred. It is not for everyone to understand. It is not for everyone to approve. Vision is personal. Vision is intimate. Vision is the calling that God, destiny, or the universe itself has placed inside of you. And when you fail to protect it, you are not just hurting yourself. You are betraying the very purpose that you were created to fulfill. Protecting your vision begins with clarity. You must know what you are called to do. You must define your purpose. You must understand the dreams that ignite your soul. When your vision is clear, no one else's opinion can shake it. When your vision is clear, no criticism can derail it. When your vision is clear, no setback can stop it. Clarity requires time, reflection, and courage. You have to get quiet. You have to listen to your heart. You have to discern what is yours and what belongs to someone else. Protecting your vision also means setting boundaries. There are people in your life who, whether intentionally or unintentionally, will try to dim your light. They will question your choices. They will challenge your decisions. They will, perhaps out of fear, jealousy, or misunderstanding, try to pull you off course. Protecting your vision means saying no to distractions. Protecting your vision means refusing to justify your dreams to the critics. Protecting your vision means keeping your eyes on the prize and your heart committed to the purpose that only you can fulfill. Too often, we allow negativity to infiltrate our minds. We let discouragement take root. We let fear whisper lies. And as a result, our vision, that sacred dream, begins to fade. But here is the truth: what the world does not understand, the world cannot destroy. What others doubt, the world cannot diminish. What you protect, nurture, and feed with faith, the world cannot touch. You must treat your vision like a precious treasure, flame that must never be allowed to go out, a responsibility that demands your focus and discipline. Protecting your vision also requires patience. It requires understanding that dreams are not always realized on our timeline. It requires faith that even when circumstances seem impossible, doors are closed, when obstacles loom large, your vision is still valid, still alive, still unfolding. Too many people give up on their visions too early. They allow frustration, setbacks, and delays to convince them that they were mistaken, that their dreams are too big, or that they are not capable. The truth is, your vision is not dependent on timing. It is dependent on persistence. It is dependent on faith, dependent on your willingness to endure. Protecting your vision also requires courage. Courage to stand alone when necessary. Courage to resist conformity. Courage to move forward when no one else believes in you. The path of vision is rarely easy. The path of purpose is rarely popular. Those who chase dreams that matter, that align with their calling, often face opposition, ridicule, and doubt. But if you protect your vision, if you hold it close, if you remain faithful to it, you will see doors open that you could never force. You will experience opportunities that you could never create by rushing or compromising. And you will achieve a fulfillment that no outside approval can ever replicate. Protecting your vision is not just about avoiding harm, it is also about nurturing growth. You must feed your vision with learning, with discipline, with strategy, and with persistence. You must surround yourself with people who support your dreams, not those who drain your energy. You must engage in practices that strengthen your focus and resilience. Protecting your vision is active, not passive. It requires vigilance, preparation, and intentionality. Your vision is a reflection of your potential. Every time you compromise it, you compromise yourself. Every time you neglect it, you diminish the person you were created to become. Every time you allow distractions to dictate your direction, you delay the impact you were meant to have on the world. Protecting your vision is not optional, it is essential. It is the duty you have to yourself, to your future, and to the people whose lives will be touched by your success. The greatest leaders, the most influential figures, the most extraordinary achievers, they all protected their vision. They faced criticism, doubt, and opposition. They encountered failures, setbacks, and detours. But they remained faithful to the vision that was placed inside of them. They did not allow the noise of the world to distort their path, did not allow fear or impatience to weaken their resolve. They protected their vision, and in doing so, they fulfilled their destiny. Protecting your vision does not mean avoiding challenges. It does not mean living in a bubble. It does not mean ignoring reality. Challenges will come. Obstacles will appear. Criticism will rise. That is life. But protecting your vision means navigating those challenges with focus, resilience, and determination. It means keeping your eyes on the prize even when the road is hard. It means refusing to let setbacks redefine your story. It means understanding that the fire in your soul is more powerful than the storms around you. Protect your vision. Treat it as sacred. Guard it with your focus, your energy, and your time. Say no to distractions. Say no to naysayers. Say no to anything that threatens to dilute your purpose. Invest in your growth. Nourish your dreams. Move with discipline. Persist with faith. And never, ever let the world tell you your vision is too big, too impossible, too unrealistic. Protect your vision, because when you do, you are not just safeguarding a dream. You are shaping your destiny. You are honoring your calling. You are creating a legacy, and you are ensuring that the life you live is not by accident, but by design, intentional and unstoppable. I want to speak to you today about something that many of us have been searching for in all the wrong places. Something that we have been chasing, hoping to find in the smiles, the words, and the applause of others. That something is validation. And I'm here to tell you this truth. Real validation does not come from the world. Real validation comes from within. Yes, I said it. Validation comes from within. Not from likes, not from applause, not from approval, not from recognition. The deepest sense of worth, the truest confidence, the strongest foundation for success, it all comes from within. Too many of us have been conditioned to believe that our value is determined by the opinions of others. We live in a world that constantly tells us we are not enough unless someone else says we are. Social media, peer pressure, societal expectations, they all conspire to make us look outside ourselves for affirmation. And every time we seek validation externally, we give our power away. Every time we wait for someone else to tell us we are good enough, we delay our own growth. Every time we rely on applause from others, we risk being left empty when the applause fades. The people who truly succeed, the people who live with unshakable confidence, the people who change the world, they do not rely on others to define their worth. They do not wait for permission to pursue their dreams. They do not measure their success by the approval of their peers. No, they validate themselves. They understand their purpose. They know their value. They recognize their own potential, and that internal validation becomes the foundation upon which all external success is built. Validation comes from within because you are the only one who lives in your mind, who carries your vision, who bears your dreams. No one else experiences your thoughts, your struggles, your faith, or your potential the way you do. And if you rely on someone else to tell you that you are enough, that your dream is possible, that your life matters, you will always be at risk of disappointment. Others will misunderstand, misjudge, or underestimate you. Others will have their own agendas, their own fears, their own limitations. But when you validate yourself, you are no longer at the mercy of others' opinions. You become the author of your own confidence, builder of your own worth, and the believer in your own destiny. Every time you seek external validation, you are giving away your power. Every time you depend on someone else to confirm your worth, you are allowing your life to be influenced by factors beyond your control. Every time you chase approval, you delay the moment when you can fully step into your potential. But when validation comes from within, you reclaim that power. You reclaim your confidence. You reclaim your focus. You reclaim your life. Validation from within is resilient. External validation is fragile. It can be taken away in a moment. A compliment today can become criticism tomorrow. A promotion can be reversed. A friend's approval can fade. When you validate yourself from within, no one can take it away. No circumstance can diminish it. No criticism can shake it. It is unshakable, unmovable, and unstoppable. It is your anchor in the storms of life, your compass in times of doubt, and your fuel when the world seems to push back against your dreams. Validation comes from within because it aligns you with your purpose. When you are internally grounded, when you know who you are and what you are meant to do, you no longer need anyone else to confirm your journey. You no longer waste your energy seeking applause or approval. You focus on what matters: your vision, your growth, your impact. And when you operate from internal validation, everything you do carries authenticity. You make choices that align with your calling, not with the expectations of others. You pursue goals that excite your soul, not that impress your peers. You live a life that is meaningful, not a life that is performative. The world will always have opinions. The world will always have critics. The world will always have naysayers. If you depend on external validation, you will always be at the mercy of that noise. You will never be free to pursue your destiny with full confidence. But when validation comes from within, you rise above the noise. You become unshakable in your confidence. You pursue your dreams relentlessly. You move forward boldly, even when the world doubts you, even when circumstances oppose you, even when failure seems imminent. Validation from within requires self-awareness. It requires reflection. It requires understanding your strengths, your purpose, your values, and your potential. It requires the courage to look in the mirror and say, I am enough. I am capable. I am worthy. I'm prepared to step into the life I was created to live. And when you develop this internal validation, nothing external can shake you. You no longer chase the approval of others because you already know your worth. You no longer fear criticism because your foundation is unshakable. You no longer compare yourself to anyone else because you know that your life is unique, your journey is personal, and your purpose is yours alone. Validation from within also empowers you to take risks. It frees you to pursue your dreams without fear of rejection or judgment. It allows you to make bold moves, to innovate, to step into leadership, to embrace your calling. Because when you know your worth, when you trust your own vision, when you believe in your own abilities, you are no longer limited by the fear of what others might think. You are no longer paralyzed by doubt or insecurity. You are liberated to live boldly, courageously, and intentionally. Seeking validation from within does not mean you reject support or advice. It does not mean you ignore wisdom or guidance. But it does mean that your sense of self-worth, your confidence, your courage, your determination do not depend on the opinions of others. You listen, you learn, you grow. But you do not hinge your life on external approval. You anchor yourself internally, and that internal validation becomes the engine that drives your life forward. Stop looking outside for affirmation. Stop waiting for applause. Stop seeking approval from those who do not fully understand your journey. Start looking within. Start listening to your own voice. Start believing in your own worth. Start validating yourself. Because when you do, you unleash a power, a confidence, and a resilience that cannot be shaken. You step into a life that is guided by purpose, fueled by faith, and anchored in truth. The world may doubt you, but your internal validation does not. The world may criticize you, but your internal validation does not. The world may underestimate you, but your internal validation does not. Your power, your confidence, and your destiny are in your hands. And the first step is to validate yourself from within. Validation comes from within. Guard it, cultivate it, strengthen it, and watch as your life transforms, because when you believe in yourself first, no one else's opinion can hold you back. You will walk boldly, act decisively, and live a life that is unshakable, unstoppable, and undeniably yours. I want to talk to you about a principle that separates those who succeed from those who merely talk about success. It is simple yet profoundly powerful. It is the difference between talking and doing, between planning endlessly and stepping boldly, between seeking approval and stepping into your destiny. Principle is this: action over explanation, action over explanation, action over explanation. And I want you to hear me clearly. Your life will never be transformed by explanations. Your life will be transformed by action. Too many of us spend more time justifying ourselves than actually moving forward. Too many of us explain why we can't, why we don't, why it's not the right time. We spend hours, days, even years giving reasons, defending decisions, and seeking permission from others. While we are explaining, life is passing by. Opportunities are slipping through our fingers. Time is marching forward. The world is not waiting for us to finish our explanations. Explanations do not build your future. Actions build your future. Actions define your legacy. Actions show the world, and more importantly, show yourself what you are capable of. You can explain all you want why a goal is hard, why a dream seems impossible, why the path is challenging. But at the end of the day, it is action that moves mountains. It is action that opens doors. It is action that turns potential into reality. When you are constantly explaining yourself, you are giving away your energy. Every time you justify a decision, defend a choice, or clarify a plan, you are investing your strength in the wrong place. You are focusing on convincing others instead of creating results. You are expending power that should be directed toward building, growing, and achieving. Action, on the other hand, conserves your energy. Action channels your power. Action turns intention into reality. Those who take action do not wait for validation. They do not wait for permission. They do not wait for perfect circumstances. They move despite fear, doubt, or uncertainty. They understand that perfection is an illusion and that progress is made through deliberate, consistent steps. They do not waste time explaining why things are difficult. They take steps to overcome difficulty. They do not linger in excuses. They persist with purpose. Because of this, their results speak louder than any words ever could. The world is filled with people who talk more than they act, people who make plans but never implement them, people who dream but never pursue, people who explain why things won't work instead of finding a way to make them work. And the sad truth is, talking feels good. Explaining feels productive. It is action that produces transformation. It is action that changes circumstances. It is action that turns vision into victory. Action over explanation also means embracing responsibility. When you act, you accept the consequences, good or bad. When you explain, you often avoid responsibility. You shift blame, you justify, you rationalize. But action demands accountability, and accountability builds character. Action forces you to confront reality. Action teaches you lessons that explanations never can. Action strengthens your resolve. Action grows your courage. When you act consistently, even in the face of fear or uncertainty, you develop momentum that propels you towards success. Let me give you an example. Consider someone a dream, a calling, a vision. They could spend all their energy explaining why they need the right time, the right support, the right circumstances. They could argue, persuade, and seek reassurance endlessly. And while they do this, life passes them by. But the person who chooses action over explanation moves forward anyway. They take the first step. They work tirelessly in private. They persevere when obstacles appear. And when the world sees the results, they are stunned. Not because the path was easy, because the person who acted consistently did what those who explained endlessly never dared to do. Action over explanation also strengthens your confidence. Every step you take, every goal you pursue, every challenge you face builds proof within yourself. You no longer have to rely on others to tell you that you are capable. You no longer have to justify your choices. You no longer need approval before taking the next step. Your results become your validation. Your achievements become your testimony. Your life becomes your proof. It multiplies. Every action you take generates momentum. Every action you take creates new opportunities. Every action you take builds courage, skill, and resilience. Explanations, on the other hand, create inertia. They create delay. They create dependency on external factors. They trap you in a cycle of words and intentions that lead nowhere. Action liberates. Action transforms. Action defines destiny. I also want to remind you, action is louder than words, but action paired with faith is unstoppable. You may not see the full path ahead. You may not have all the answers. You may not know the outcome. But action fueled by faith, determination, purpose moves you forward even when the way is unclear. Every step you take toward your goal builds momentum, builds confidence, builds a story of perseverance that no explanation could ever capture. Stop explaining why you can't. Stop justifying why you haven't. Stop rationalizing your delays. Stop waiting for someone else to understand your journey, and instead act. Move forward. Take the steps you know you need to take. Pursue your goals with discipline. Push through the fear. Step into the discomfort and watch as doors open, obstacles fall, and life begins to shift in your favor, not because anyone told you it would, but because you chose action over explanation. When you act consistently, you inspire others. You may not realize it, but people are watching. People notice results, effort, determination far more than excuses and explanations. Action motivates. Action encourages. Action teaches others what is possible when you refuse to wait for permission, validation, or perfect timing. Action changes not only your life, but also the lives of those around you. Choose action over explanation. Let your results speak for you. Your life be your testimony. Let your journey be your proof. Stop wasting energy convincing others and start investing that energy in creating, building, and achieving. Step forward boldly with faith and purpose and let the power of action transform your life. The world is filled with talkers. The world is filled with explainers, but the world is transformed by doers. The world is changed by those who step into their destiny despite fear, despite uncertainty, despite doubt. Be a doer, be a mover, be someone whose life speaks louder than any words ever could. Choose action over explanation. Watch as your vision, your purpose, and your destiny come alive in ways you never imagined. I want to speak to you today about something that is often overlooked, but is the secret weapon of those who achieve greatness. I want to talk about your energy, your life force, your focus, your determination. and more importantly, how to multiply it. Energy is not just about physical strength, it's about mental clarity, emotional resilience, and spiritual alignment. It's about where you invest your attention, your effort, and your time. And here is the truth. How you manage your energy determines the trajectory of your life. But those who master energy multiplication, those who understand how to maximize, focus, and protect their energy, they accomplish more in a single year than most do in a lifetime. Too many of us operate with energy leaks. We scatter our focus across too many directions. We invest our strength in things that do not matter. We spend hours in conflict, in comparison, in criticism, in distractions. And while we do this, our potential diminishes. We feel drained. We feel frustrated. We feel as if we are running in place. Here's the truth. Energy is like a seed. Where it is planted, it grows. Where it is wasted, it disappears. The choice is always yours. What will you multiply and what will you let dissipate? Energy multiplication begins with focus. Concentrate your attention on a single purpose, a single goal, a single vision. Your energy no longer leaks. It compounds. It builds momentum. It grows stronger with each action, each decision, each step forward. But when you scatter your energy across every task, every distraction, every opinion, you dilute your power, you diminish your effectiveness, you slow down your progress. Focus is the foundation of energy multiplication. When you are clear on your priorities, your energy becomes unstoppable. And here is something else to understand: energy multiplication requires boundaries. There are people, environments, and situations that will drain your energy. There are conversations that pull you into negativity. There are relationships that demand more than they give. There are distractions that hijack your focus. Protecting your energy is not selfish. It is strategic. It is necessary if you want to achieve your potential. Every time you allow negativity, criticism, or distraction to invade your mind, you weaken your ability to act, to think clearly, and to create impact. But when you set boundaries, when you guard your energy, you multiply your effectiveness, your clarity, and your power. Energy multiplication also requires intentional action. It is not enough to work hard. You must work smart. You must align your efforts with your purpose. You must channel your energy into the tasks that produce results. Every choice, every decision, every habit either multiplies your energy or dissipates it. And here is the difference. Multiplied energy creates momentum, attracts opportunities, generates growth exponentially. Scattered energy produces little more than fatigue and frustration. Those who master the art of energy multiplication learn to prioritize, to focus, and to act with intention at every moment. Every thought you think, every word you speak, every relationship you invest in, every decision you make carries energy, and energy flows where attention goes. If you focus on negativity, criticism, or doubt, your energy multiplies in ways that limit you. But if you focus on solutions, on growth, on your vision, your energy multiplies in ways that empower you. Energy is contagious, and it can be directed either toward destruction or toward creation. The choice is yours. Energy multiplication is not just about working harder. It's about aligning your mind, body, and spirit. Your physical health affects your energy. Your mental clarity affects your energy. Your emotional state affects your energy. Your spiritual alignment affects your energy. All these elements are in harmony. Your energy multiplies naturally. You move faster. You think clearer. You act decisively. Persevere through challenges with strength and resilience that others cannot comprehend. Energy multiplication is also about investment. Every hour you spend learning, growing, and preparing compounds your energy. Every moment you spend in reflection, planning, and prayer multiplies your capacity. Every step you take in pursuit of your vision amplifies your momentum. But wasted hours, idle thoughts, unproductive habits, and scattered attention do the opposite. They drain your energy and slow your progress. Multiply your energy by investing it wisely. Protect it, focus it, direct it toward what truly matters. Energy multiplication is also relational. The people you surround yourself with affect your energy. Some people drain enough. Some people inspire you. Some people push you forward. And some people pull you backward. The energy you absorb from others can either multiply your potential or diminish it. Choose carefully. Protect your inner space. Surround yourself with those who challenge you, support you, and elevate you. And remember, energy you invest in relationships multiplies, not because of obligation, but because of alignment with your vision and purpose. Energy multiplication comes from alignment with your higher purpose. When your actions, thoughts, and focus are in harmony with your calling, your energy multiplies exponentially. You find strength where there was none. You discover creativity you did not know you possessed. You persist through trials that would break others. You act decisively because your energy is no longer wasted. It is directed, intentional, and unstoppable. I want you to understand that energy multiplication is also a discipline. It requires self-control. It requires awareness. It requires saying no to what does not matter so that you can say yes to what does. It requires resisting the temptation to react to every distraction, every opinion, every criticism. It requires patience and strategic thinking. And when you practice this discipline consistently, you will find that you are achieving more, creating more, and becoming more than you ever imagined. The energy you cultivate today, the focus you protect, boundaries you set, the actions you take, they will create results far beyond what you can see right now. Multiplied energy compounds. It grows, it expands, it creates opportunities, impact, and success not only for yourself, but for generations to come. Who understand energy multiplication do not live by chance. They live by design, intentionally and powerfully. Focus your energy, protect your energy, multiply your energy. Be intentional in where you invest your time, your attention, and your effort. Surround yourself with people, habits, thoughts that elevate you. Align yourself with your purpose and take disciplined, strategic action every day. Watch as your energy grows exponentially, as your momentum increases, and as your life transforms in ways that feel unstoppable, undeniable, and extraordinary. Your energy is your power. Your energy is your leverage. Your energy is your fuel for greatness. Multiply it, protect it, and direct it wisely. And when you do, doors will open, opportunities will appear, and your life will reflect the unstoppable force of someone who understands the true value of energy. Friends, I want to speak to you today about a principle that is often overlooked, yet it is one of the most powerful forces in life and in leadership. It is simple. It carries extraordinary weight. Surprise amplifies impact. Yes, I said it. Surprise amplifies impact. And if you understand this principle, you will begin to move through life, work, and relationships in ways that create opportunities, command attention, and leave a legacy that cannot be ignored. Now, many of us are conditioned to believe that life is predictable. We think that people expect us to follow a pattern, that success comes through ordinary means, and that our actions should be visible at every step. But let me tell you something, those who make the most significant mark in life, the ones who change the game, the ones whose names are remembered, they understand the power of surprise. They understand that impact is often magnified not by noise or fanfare, but by the unexpected, the strategic, the unpredictable. Surprise amplifies impact because it defies expectation. When people expect you to behave in a certain way, deliver a certain outcome, or react predictably, they are prepared. But when you break the mold, when you act differently, when you step out of the ordinary, your impact multiplies. Imagine a quiet person who suddenly delivers a groundbreaking idea. Imagine a diligent worker who suddenly produces a result no one saw coming. Imagine a leader who suddenly takes decisive action that changes the course of a project, an organization, or a life. The element of surprise does not just create attention, it creates influence. Let me tell you another truth: surprise amplifies impact because it creates memory. People remember what they do not expect. They remember the moment when someone exceeded expectations, went beyond ordinary, or delivered something extraordinary. Your life, your work, and your actions have the potential to be remembered not because of what was predictable, but because of what was strategically unexpected. And when your actions are remembered, your influence grows. When your actions are remembered, your legacy begins to take shape. When your actions are remembered, your opportunities multiply. Surprise amplifies impact because it creates leverage. When you act in ways that are unexpected, you shift the dynamics of every situation. You gain the advantage of initiative, creativity, and unpredictability. You force people to pay attention. You compel action. You create possibilities that were previously hidden. Those who master the art of surprise understand that timing, strategy, discernment amplify every effort they make. They do not act carelessly. They act intentionally. That intention transforms ordinary efforts into extraordinary outcomes. Surprise is not about chaos. Surprise is not about recklessness. Surprise is not about trying to shock people for attention. True surprise is strategic. It is intentional. It is carefully planned. It is the product of preparation, insight, and vision. Those who leave a lasting mark in history do not stumble into impact by accident. They prepare in silence. They study in secrecy. And when the moment comes, they act in a way that catches the world off guard. And that is how ordinary effort becomes extraordinary influence in your career, in your business, in your relationships, in your personal growth. How often do people underestimate you? How often do they assume they know your capabilities? How often do they discount your potential? That is your advantage. That is where surprise amplifies impact. When you have been underestimated, when you have been overlooked, when the world has not expected much from you, that is when your actions can hit with maximum force. That is when your results can be most powerful. That is when your breakthrough is most memorable. Surprise amplifies impact because it inspires others. When people see something unexpected, something beyond what they imagined, something greater than they thought possible, they are motivated, they are challenged, they are awakened. Your surprise can become a catalyst for rise, to dream bigger, to act bolder. Impact is not just about personal achievement. It is about creating ripples that influence others, that change perspectives, that elevate communities. Element of surprise magnifies that effect. God, destiny, and life itself often work through surprise. Think about the stories of those who rose from obscurity to prominence, who overcame impossible odds, who achieved what no one thought possible. Many of these breakthroughs came not in a way that was predictable, but in a way that was unexpected, timely, and strategically delivered. Element of surprise is part of the divine strategy of life. It amplifies impact. It commands attention. It positions the faithful for results that seem impossible to the world. To use surprise effectively, you must be prepared. You cannot create meaningful impact without preparation. You cannot be strategically unexpected if you are unprepared. Those who surprise successfully have invested time, effort, energy, and discipline in mastering their craft. They have built their skills, sharpened their focus, and strengthen their resilience. And when the moment comes, they unleash results that no one saw coming, and the world takes notice. Surprise amplifies impact also because it shifts perception. People often see you through the lens of your past actions, your current position, own assumptions. But when you act in ways that are unexpected, you redefine how people see you. You elevate your reputation. You expand your influence. You break the limitations that others have placed on your identity. And when perception shifts, opportunities multiply, trust is strengthened, and your potential grows exponentially. Life rewards the prepared who act in unexpected ways. Life favors those who invest in themselves, who cultivate their skills, who protect their energy, who plan with precision, and who execute boldly when the time is right. Surprise amplifies impact because it combines preparation with timing, discipline with courage, and vision with action. It is a multiplier of results, a catalyst for influence, and a pathway to legacy. Think strategically, act intentionally. Prepare relentlessly. Protect your vision. Cultivate your energy. When the moment is right, step forward in a way that surprises, in a way that inspires, in a way that amplifies your impact. Let your actions be more than expected. Let your life speak louder than words. Let your results leave the world in awe. Because when you understand that surprise amplifies impact, you step into a realm where ordinary effort becomes extraordinary, and your influence becomes unstoppable. The element of surprise is your secret weapon. The unexpected moves create the greatest outcomes. The unseen preparation produces the most memorable results. The carefully timed actions multiply your influence. Use it wisely, use it boldly. And watch as your life transforms in ways that no one predicted, but everyone remembers. Friends, I want to speak to you today about a principle that is often misunderstood in a world that celebrates noise, attention, and constant display. principle is this: thriving quietly. Yes, I said it, thriving quietly. In a culture that rewards constant sharing, constant comparison, and constant validation, there is unmatched power in learning to succeed, to grow, and to rise without broadcasting every step of your journey. Thriving quietly is not about hiding your life. It is about protecting your progress, multiplying your focus, and creating results that speak for themselves. Too many people are addicted to public recognition. They feel the need to announce every accomplishment, explain every step, and justify every action. While this may bring temporary applause, it often comes at a high cost. Every announcement exposes your strategy to critics, invites unnecessary opinions, can even provoke envy or sabotage. When you thrive quietly, however, your energy, your focus, and your momentum are protected. You allow your work to mature in privacy, and the results, when they finally emerge, are undeniable. Thriving quietly begins with discipline, begins with the understanding that your journey is yours alone. You do not need external validation to prove your progress. You do not need to report your efforts to anyone. You do not need to explain your choices, your goals, or your timing. Every step you take, every action you execute, every small victory you achieve, handle it with wisdom and discretion. By doing this, you create an environment where your focus multiplies, where your energy is preserved, and where your results grow exponentially. Thriving quietly builds resilience. When no one is watching, you are forced to rely on yourself. You learn to develop inner strength, patience, and perseverance. You are not motivated by praise or recognition. You are motivated by purpose, by vision, by the fire that burns within. The quiet ones, the ones who work relentlessly behind the scenes, develop stamina that those seeking constant attention cannot comprehend. And when the breakthrough comes, it is unstoppable because it has been forged in secrecy, discipline, and relentless effort. Thriving quietly also protects your energy. Every time you announce your struggles, your strategies, or your plans, you risk losing focus and wasting energy. Criticism, unsolicited advice, comparison drains strength that could be invested in action. But when you move silently, when you work diligently without broadcasting every detail, your energy is preserved, your mind remains clear, your focus sharp, and your results become the loudest testimony of your effort, not the words of others. Some of the greatest successes in history were achieved quietly. The people who made the biggest impact did not constantly seek the spotlight. They prepared, they studied, they practiced, and they acted strategically. When the world finally noticed, the results were undeniable. Their success did not depend on validation or applause. It was rooted in consistent effort, clarity of purpose, and the discipline to thrive quietly. Thriving quietly allows you to act with wisdom. When you are not distracted by the need to announce every move, you have the mental space to plan strategically. You can evaluate opportunities carefully. You can correct mistakes before they are exposed. You can adapt, pivot, and grow without public scrutiny. Thriving quietly is not passivity. It is intentionality.